Today's topic is ego, ripe and unripe. The story being read was so beautiful, reminiscences, where we find the ego so less, they become just like a child. So great Swami Akhandanandaji just become like a child, and there's no ego in them. They just can be treated that way. So that is a sign of ripe ego. What is actually ego? Ego is the sense of I. I, when that sense comes in a human being, then it separates. What the ego does, it separates us from what is not I and not I, like that it separates. It's in fact a barrier for us from the rest of the world. And this barrier, everyone we feel that whoever had I is sitting inside a cage of ego. And when it has to relate to others, that it has to go through a channel. And that channel makes connection with others. Then it says mine. From I to mine. Wherever it can connect, it calls mine. If we are asked, who are you? We'll have different answers. This ego will answer it. And it will be variable. We are different I at different times. And it depends, mostly we can identify with our name, or with our job we do, or with as a sports fan, or a gender, or in terms of our relationship. Like I am a mother, if I'm dealing with a child, whatever is at the top, or I am an employee in that office, or I'm a fan of Maple Leafs, Toronto Maple Leafs. Like that terms we often describe ourselves. This ego is always variable, changeable. What I think myself as I is not permanent thing, it's always changeable. And when we identify ourselves with that sort of I, as we see to the world, we will treat others also in that way. When I treat myself as a fan of a certain sports club, I will treat others as fan of others' clubs. I am a fan of Maple Leafs, you are a Canadian fan. So I will treat the world as my I will be. When I treat myself as man, a male, I'll try to say who is male and who is female. When I think myself as rich, I'll say you are more rich, richer than me, or you are poorer than me. Whatever my idea about myself, I see the world in that light. When I deal with a child, oh I am a mother, you are my son, you are my daughter. That way this ego varies. Now there are different egos, different identifications, but something is more prominent than others. For example, I am a human being, that is most prominent I-ness in us. I am a human being. Do others know how I feel myself? Am I too egotistic about my richness, wealth? Am I a humble person? Do others know what do I feel about myself? In most cases, yes, it is expressed through my behavior, through my talks, through my speaking. If I think myself as a very learned person, that is my ego, I am a scholar, then in my talks there will be, the things will come, quotations from this book, that book, Sanskrit slokas, all this will come in my talks. You see this happen. That's how we often exhibit what sort of I-ness we have at that time prominent. As I said, we are all encased in the ego, this I-ness. We, as in reality, what we are, our I is vast, and it is one with the reality, supreme infinite. And that I, when we shrink and make it into small human being or a certain worker or certain educated person, we just shrink that infinity into a very small, limited, weak entity, that becomes ego. I as infinite is our reality. I as identification with this body and mind, this becomes ego. So ego, when it shrinks, or then it becomes ego. This shrinking also is like when we have, in the shrinked state, we feel that I am separate from others, I am greater from others. Just we divide. When we don't divide, when we feel that it all is one, then it's real I. When I and you comes, then it becomes ego. When you are there, then what is my study about myself, my idea about myself? And that is when the difficulty comes. What happens when this ego comes? What happens? What is the problem with ego? Ego brings misery. When we separate from the world, we will suffer. That is said. And when this ego becomes very vain, very wrongly identified, strongly I start to identify with this particular body, particular youthfulness, then it becomes surely, when it changes, changing ego, you try to make it a permanent and stable. It won't be permanent. And when it changes, it brings misery, suffering to you. You don't want to change, because as the reality is unchangeable. But this misidentified, misunderstood, this ego is changeable. And this changing and changeable thing, when it is considered to be permanent and real, then it becomes a cause of misery. So ego makes us feel we are the doer. Whatever action is done, we feel, I did that. That is the sign of ego. If we don't have ego, we will not say, I did that. Whenever we feel that we give more credit to whatever we have done, then we are prone and we are liable to have more blames to accept that I have done. We will be fluctuating between the credits or the praise and the blames. And this is the result of identification with wrong I, that is ego. Now this ego is such, it is almost ingrained. Until we have this body consciousness, this ego doesn't go. And when we have the I sense, I identify that this body and mind is me, then this ego cannot be removed totally. And Sri Ramakrishna said, when this ego cannot be removed, then let that ego be a servant ego. How to make this life this good? Because I am identified with I-ness. I am this person, I work this, I have this much capacity, I have so much richness, I am so looking so much, so all this ego, then how will I deal with the world? So Sri Ramakrishna said, something about wrong notion about you will not go unless you transcend the idea that you are a body and you are a mind. So in that situation, what you will do? Transform that ego into a servant ego. Instead of thinking, I am a rich man, I am an intelligent person, I am a scholar, why don't you think yourself that you are a devotee of God, you are a servant of God? Instead of relating yourself to the world and worldly things, that I am a father of this son, I have so many children, I have this big house, instead of relating with primary ego with yourself and secondary ego is mine, why don't you think that you are a servant of God, you are a devotee of God? Then the problem in the world will be less. When you connect yourself to the fleeting, changeable, unreal world, you will have problems. When you connect to something stable, eternal, then there will be bliss and happiness. That is the transformation of unripe I and ripe I. Sri Ramakrishna said, I and mine, this constitutes ignorance. My house, my wealth, my learning, my possessions, the attitude that prompts one to say such things comes of ignorance. So whenever we say my add to something, that is ignorance, and that brings misery. On the contrary, the attitude born of knowledge is, O God, you are the master, and all these things belong to you. House, children, friends are all yours. So when we consider ourselves to be the master of the things and owner of the things and the doer of the things, karta and bhokta, I as the doer and I as the experiencer, then that is unripe ego. Unripe ego is troublesome, like unripe fruit. It is hard, it is green, sour, not tasty. It doesn't give joy, not to myself, not to others. And when that ego, unripe ego, ripens, it becomes soft, juicy, and sweet. And that always gives joy to yourself, and it gives joy to others. So, unripe ego, which identifies itself with the world and worldly possessions, has to be transformed into something connected with the eternity, connected with God. Instead of saying, I am father, I am an employee of Bell Canada, why can't I say, I am a devotee of God? I am a friend of those devotees. That way, connecting that something with eternity, with eternal being, that will give us joy. Sri Ramakrishna gave the example that how this I, whenever we say I to this limited self of body and mind, is how this gives trouble. He told the story that many of you have read. That he says that a cow gives birth to a calf. And the calf starts saying, hamba, hamba, I. So it just sounds that. So then the cow gets all the trouble in life. So when it grows up as an ox, it has to plow the field. It has to pull the carts because it says I to this body. It forgot God. It doesn't say you. Then when it is dead, its skin is taken out and is put into the shoes. People use it. Even after death, it has no relief from miseries. Finally, its entrails are made into a carding machine, some carding instrument, and then it cards the cotton. And when it is put that, then it says tuhu. When I has been transformed into you, then after that no more change, no more misery. Then misery ceases. Whenever we say I did this, I own this, then there is misery. If we could say, oh Lord, it belongs to you. I am just your servant. I do as you make me do. Then only there is peace. So that's what Sri Ramakrishna says. Often we feel that I have a very loving wife, very loving children, so wonderful grandchildren. I am very happy in this world. There is no misery. Why this Swami says I makes misery? Everyone takes care for me, and I am very happy with my relatives, friends, and my family. There is no misery in saying I have sufficient money in the bank, I can go for outing, I can go for cruise. And why is this saying that I may have to suffer through some miseries? So to that Sri Ramakrishna said, one person, devotee, disciple went to Guru, and Guru said, this all world is Maya, there is really no happiness here. So no one really belongs to anyone, we all belong to God. this relation that you see is just a temporary, it doesn't last forever. So Guru said to disciple said, what do you say? I have a wonderful family, my wife, my mother loves me so much. I have wonderful children, they all belong to me and they can do anything for me. They love me more than their life. The teacher said, is that so? So yes, you can go and see in my house. So the teacher then said to the disciple, I give you this pill, eat this pill, then you will be seen as if dead. Go to your home and eat this pill. You will not die, you will know everything, you will hear everything, you will not die. But for all practical purpose, you will be seen as you are a dead body. Then after that I will go and do the things right. So he had that pill, went home, and he died. Means he seemed as if dead. Then suddenly died, young son, earning person. Then mother starts crying, oh my God, my son is dead. I loved him so much, how could I make him life? And he was beating, and wife and children all were crying and wailing. And when that was done, then the Guru comes. They said, you have come on this time when your disciple has died and nothing can be done. What we will do? We are so sad. How can we make him alive? There is no other way. Guru went there, saw the disciple and said to the family, there is a way I can make this person back to life. They said, is that so? Then he brought out a pill from his bag. This pill has to be taken. Then naturally, that dead person cannot take the pill. He said, it has to be taken by some of you. If we take, that person will survive, come back to life. But whoever takes this pill, he will die or she will die. So when he had said that if this pill is taken, he will survive, everyone was happy. And the second sentence, that whoever eats this pill, that person will die. We had them set up back. Then they were curious. The teacher then said to the mother of the person, you are trying so hard. I'm sure you will have no objection to have this pill. Please take this and your son will come back to your life. Mother took the pill in her hand and was thinking for some time. And the teacher asked, Mother, why are you not taking that? He said, oh, you asked me to take this. I know that the son will come to life, but what will happen to my grandchildren? What will happen to whole family? Who will look after them? I am here, everyone is busy, I look after them. So unless I am there, this family will be ruined. So I think I cannot take this pill. Then the pill was taken from mother's hand and the teacher gave it to his wife. And I am sure you will take this pill because your husband will come to life and you love husband more than your life. You often said, your husband told me that my wife loves me more than her life. She will never desert me. She will never desert me. She loves me so much. Please take this and your husband will come to life. She took the pill and the same answer came. She took the pill in hand and the same answer came that I have young children. What do you say? How will they be taken care of? I am a mother of children. I cannot just die. So that also was not done. So nobody knows, children also came forward, no one came forward to take that pill. And the teacher, after some time, he knew that the reaction of the pill that had been taken by his disciple was for a few hours. After that reaction was gone, action of the pill was gone, he came back to consciousness and he heard everything and said, Guru, this is the world. So please go, let us go, I will go with you. We'll be here in the house. I have seen the love of the world. So that way the Guru wanted to teach him that how our relations are. We love ourselves most, not the other person. In saying we say, I love you more than my life, everyone says, but that is often becomes the expression of emotion, not the reality. And how this thing, identity of our identity with my thing comes. And often we identify with the things we love so much as if it is mine. If I love suppose I love my pen, so someone touches and that pen is fallen on the ground and it breaks, I feel so sorry as if he has done damage to me. So this all comes of ego, secondary ego. Primary ego is I, secondary ego is mine. So when this ego is inflated and wrongly understood and with strong identification with secondary ego things, then also it is a source of great trouble. Swami Vivekananda loved one glass cup. It was given to him by some Westerner. And when he went to India, someone was cleaning that and it fell down and broke. The Brahmachari was very afraid, scared. Swamiji had a very grave personality. People were afraid to approach him. He trembling, he went, Swamiji, by mistake, it slipped from my hand and that cup was broken. So he was very afraid that scolding will come from Swami Vivekananda. But Swamiji said, what does that matter? Glasses die that way. The things made of glass don't have TB and cholera that they will die. They break like that. There was love, but there was no attachment. This mind thing was very less in Swami Vivekananda. So that is the person of knowledge. They may seem to have this ego, but it seems, Sri Ramakrishna says, that those great spiritual leaders who worked great in this world to give knowledge, devotion, and teaching and spreading messages of divine, they had a very little ego. And so ripe ego it was, and it was the ego of knowledge. Shankaracharya gave the ego of knowledge. Little thing that I know and I have to teach people. And someone asked Sri Ramakrishna asked, do I have ego? To him. Ego said, yes, you have kept a little ego to do good to the world. Sri Ramakrishna said, no, I have not kept the ego. Divine Mother has kept the ego in me. So that much ego was also not there, that I have to do good to the world. If Mother wants good to the world through this body and mind, let her do. I have nothing, no desire. So it was all Mother there. Ego was so less that I preach, I do good to the world, that ego was also not there. Often when ego is very raw, it is all self-centered. I want to enjoy myself, everything surrounding myself. When it is little ripe, then I want to do good to the world. Some service, some volunteering, something the better, good treatment to others. That is also an ego, but a very ripe ego. When we will be free from ego, then we will see everyone as our own. Then when we start doing good to others, we do good only when we are reciprocated. When I do good to the world, I expect that you feel happy with my work. If you just brag and you insult me when I do good to the world, next time I don't go to do something to you because my ego is hurt. That much was the thing. But when my ego is finally fully ripened, it transcends the ignorance, then what happens? Then I start being really good to you. I have the joy. They say that when one does good to the world, there is a joy. They do good to the world to get that joy of unselfish service. But a man of realization, he already has that joy inside him. He does good to the world out of that joy already existing there. So it doesn't matter whether the person he serves reciprocates in good words or no good words. Whether he insults or praises doesn't matter. He or she, the person of realization, is already full of happiness. So he does that out of joy to others without any sort of expectation from others. Doing service to others with expectation, that is also a more better ego. You are something doing good to others, but very selfish person will be only self-centered. How much self-centered? In the Gita, 16th chapter, there are a few verses. What is the person of very egotistic person? And Sri Krishna says, he said, Aso maya atah shatru anishche chaparanapi. He was a big king, and there was a fight, and he won the battle. And he said, today I have conquered the enemy, I have killed the enemy, Anishche chaparanapi. And next time it comes, I will destroy them. I will conquer them. Ishwaroham aham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi. I am the Lord. I am the enjoyer. Ishwaroham aham bhogi siddhoham. I am perfect. My skill of warriorship, my military skill, who can compare to that? Siddhoham balavan. I am mightier. And I am happy. He feels happiness with these things. So much of strong, inflated ego, so much of self-centeredness, and he feels he is very happy. He might be happy, but that happiness is very short-lived. One who has conquered today will be conquered tomorrow by someone. So, the feeling that he says, Ardhyobhi Janavanasmi, Sri Krishna describes in another verse, to this self-centered person, very egotistic person, whose ego is just ripe, hard, very rough. Then he said, Ardhyobhi Janavanasmi Konyosti Sadrisho Maya. I am rich. I have a lot of followers. I have a lot of supporters. Who is there like me? So this is a very, very unripe ego. That ego, what happens to that sort of ego persons ultimately? Sri Krishna says, Patanti narake asuchau. Such type of person who are so egotistic, they fall into the very foul hell. Hell also, we have described adjective foul hell. Asuchau narakau. False. So, egotistic person will fall that way. Ego is something that not only the human beings are affected with it, even gods are affected with ego. Once God, it's in Upanishad, Kenopanishad, God had battle with Asuras. Deva and Asura, God is already supposed to be very Sattva-guni. But how the ego comes even in the Sattva-guni person. And they fought and they conquered. Very strong enemy were there, they conquered. And God thought, oh, we have grown skill and we have conquered. There was the I, there was the we. That is less of ego. When it's I, it's very strong ego. Some politicians you will find, I will rule. 40 years in power, I will still rule. That's very strong, unripe ego. Not letting any other person come from their countrymen. So, here, then, the Devas, God thought we have conquered. Then, the Supreme Being, who is God of gods, he thought, oh, these persons are good, but they are under the influence of ego. So they thought they have to be guided well. So one day, the Brahman, Supreme Reality that comes in the form of an unknown person in heaven, when in the heaven they were celebrating their victory, and he comes just outside the heaven gate. Someone gave the information in the meeting celebration that some strange person have come. How did someone enter? All Asuras were vanquished. Who came here? So Indra said, Indra is the king of gods. He said to Agni, Agni, go and find out who is there, who has come to our heaven without information. Our security system, how did it fail? So Agni goes with lot of boast, it says. The Upanishad describes. Agni is the one who goes first. He's very powerful. Before the Agni asked that being, who are you? That being asked Agni, who are you? That they asked us, who are you? What type of answer we give depends on what of ego we have. Agni was egotistic. He said, I am Agni. I am all-knowing person, knowing being. What can you do? That Yaksha asked. I can burn everything. I can burn the whole universe. I have that power. So with that so, can you burn this small dry straw, dry piece of grass? Agni was very embarrassed to see this, but this was the challenge given, and he just wanted to burn in seconds that thing. He put his burning power to that. He could not burn that. He failed to burn a straw, who was boasting to burn anything in the universe. He failed to burn a little straw given by this being, Yaksha. Then Agni goes, head down. They ask, what happened? He says, he took away my all pride. I thought I can burn anything in the world. I had that power. The Indra said, what happened? Who this person has come that Agni lost his power to burn even his straw? Then he said to Vayu, the god of air, to go. god of air, goes. That Yaksha again asked, who are you? He said, I am Vayu. Then he says, Matarishwa. Then what can you do? What do you do? I blow away everything. I can blow anything. I am so powerful. So can you blow this piece of grass, dry grass? So he put his power, he could not blow that grass. He went ashamed and put his head down, and the god couldn't reply anything. Indra asked, who was that? Nothing answered. It was a big blow on his ego. Ego was blown. And then everybody said, now Indra, you have to go and find out who is this being. Then Indra went out, and when Indra approached, that being was vanished. That being vanished. Indra was, at least to others, that being was shown, and in front of Indra, that being vanished. He didn't even show to Indra. Indra's ego was deeply hurt, but it was Indra, king of gods. He might have, by inflated ego, they might have thought they have not conquered, but he wanted to know. That's why he stayed there. So in place of Yaksha, then by his prayer came one beautiful woman. Beautiful woman, she came, and he asked, Mother, who was that person that came, and fire and air could not show their power, their ability? They were all lost of their whatever quality they had. Then Mother said, oh, it was Brahman, the supreme God, that had come to you. And it has come to you to say that you won the war not because of your power. If power is withdrawn from you, you are useless. You can do nothing. As the Brahma withdrew the power from fire god and fire from air god, they were useless, functionless. All that power that you could do was given by that supreme being. So to teach this, they had come. So Indra was dissatisfied, and they understood that they had conquered by not their power, but the power of supreme being. That story of between the Deva and Asura was meant for us to teach that what we achieve and perform in the world is not by our power. It's not the ego power that works, it is the power of God that works. When we take our functions, achievements, actions as being given by the grace of God, then our ego becomes right. Still we say I, but always, Lord, I did it by your power. Glory be to you. Always glory, always credit will go to God. You have given me that power, I could do that. What power I have if you don't give? Anything that I have achieved, I have done is by you. The beautiful Bengali song Sri Ramakrishna used to like, that all is your will, mother, you do everything. Only the ignorant say that I have done. Shakali tumar ichha, ichha moi tara tumi. Tomar karma tumi karoma, loke bole kori ami. You do your work, mother. People in ignorance, they say they have done the work, but it is sheer ignorance. That's how the ego becomes, ripe ego gives trouble, and ripe ego gives peace and bliss, and unripe ego gives trouble. Now what is the cause of the ego? Cause of ego, they say, is the world. That starts feeding you idea about yourself. Whatever the world says, you start feeling yourself like that. And that comes out of the weakness of the mind. We take too much as the world says. That's how we react to the world. That's how we feel insulted. When someone says, you are a very bad person, why do I feel bad? Because I start feeling that, oh, what he said might be true, and then I react. If I say that he is ignorant, he has a sin, I can just brush it off. When I get angry and I feel insulted, that means I am giving credit to the words of the person that is saying me. I am being manipulated by the world. So when our ego is weak, then we are manipulated by the world. We need a strong ego. When ego is strong and purified, it gets connected with God. When ego is weak and inflated, then it is influenced by the world. World starts shaping our ego. World starts commanding that you are this and you are not that. We don't have any idea about ourselves. We lose our willpower. We lose our mental, our own identity. That what I am, and being shaped by the world as such. When world gets over us and overpowers us, then our ego becomes very big and very unripe. Then we are very vulnerable and miserable in this world. So when ego has to be there, that's what Sri Ramakrishna said, and ego doesn't go. That ego, let that ego be the servant ego. I will be there, think that you are the servant of God. You are connected with God. When you have a feeling that I am a devotee of Shiva, I am a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna, you will immediately connect that what you can do and what you cannot do. The ego prompts us to be very selfish, this unripe ego, self-centered. When you get connected with Sri Ramakrishna, then when you say, I am a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna, then quality will come. You cannot be disrespectful towards other religions. You cannot speak the truth. When you say, I am a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna, and still you will go on speaking the false thing, that will not happen. You will speak the truth. Because you connect with something reality, something permanent, something excellent, something unchangeable. That way we become very strong when we get connected with the ideal. I am a devotee of Shiva. Then you will mind nothing. You can take anything. You have to serve for the world even at the danger of your life. What Shiva did. Shiva is always in bliss. You will feel that ideal of Shiva is to be free from worldly attachments. That's how the world is. Shankaracharya in one of his verses said that you give so much credit to your worldly relatives till life is there moving in this thing. This God is there in you. Then people respect you. When this life goes, what is there in this body and mind? When this body will be there lying like a corpse. And even your wife will be afraid of your body. Bharyam vibhati tasmin gehe. That body, even your wife who loves you so much will be afraid of that. So you are not the body. You are the self, the Atma. You are not the small ego. You don't identify yourself with that. Smallness become vast. Try to identify yourself as a devotee of God, and finally as the Atma, pure consciousness, supreme love, infinite existence, absolute bliss. That is the nature of yours. Don't make yourself small. Don't make yourself little, weak, hopeless. Make yourself as you are. And that can come through constant attempt, spiritual disciplines, when you really identify who you are. And when the ego will be transcended. Before ego transcends, get connected with the reality. Get connected with the God. Always try to associate with the God. So unripe ego is the ego that relates with the world, worldly achievements and worldly objects. And ripe ego is the one which associates and identifies oneself with the reality, with the God, with the truth. When we have real ego, then as Sri Ramakrishna said, we can feel that this whole family, and it is said, this wife, my relatives, house, possessions, my everything that is there, including my body, including my mind, all this belongs to God. When I can feel that way. My son, my daughter, my wife, my husband, all are belonging to God. When we appropriate the things of God to myself, that they belong to me, then the problem comes. Someone's property, you start saying it is my property. Then you have to suffer. It's God's property. Every being is God's being. Everything, even your body is God's. So, if you by mistake think that this body is yours, this relative is yours, you are trespassing the thing. For that you have to be punished. Trespassing others' property, you have to punish or not. That punishment is what? That is misery, tension and suffering in the world comes when we think God's thing as our own thing. Everything belongs to God. The whole universe is God. My relative children, they are also God, given by God to me so that I can serve them, I can make them happy, by which the God will be pleased. With that attitude we work in the world, we'll be very happy and peaceful, and that will be real ripening of the ego from unripe state to the ripe state. Thank you.